Good morning, and thank you all for joining us today. We are here to announce the details of the final contract to bring body-worn cameras to the Baltimore City Police Department. This contract will be going before the Board of Estimates for final approval next week. With me today, our Police Commissioner Kevin Davis, Tim Kruss, our city's purchasing agent, and David Ralph, from the City Solicitor's Office. Commissioner Davis will be speaking to the Baltimore Police Department's, to the issue of the Baltimore Police Department's looking forward to being equipped with body cameras that he is wearing today. Mr. Kruss and Mr. Ralph will be available to answer questions regarding the body camera procurement process. I have long been committed to implementing a body-worn camera program in Baltimore across our entire city. I've been committed to doing it the right way, to be deliberate, to be conscious of privacy concerns, and to be reasonable about the costs. We're not talking about providing body cameras to an agency of 20 or 30 officers. For an agency of more than 2,500 sworn personnel like the Baltimore City Police Department, one mistake can cost taxpayers millions of dollars. There is a difference between urgency and haste. I insisted that we move with urgency, but I wanted to make sure that Baltimore did not end up with a boondoggle wasting taxpayers' money. While some would have had me rush in and promise to outfit all officers within a month or two, all of those calls, and I should say those calls were very, very loud and persistent, and I'll add irresponsible. There was a far more complex work that I knew. This was far more complex than simply going down to Radio Shack and buying a bunch of cameras. This was a complex endeavor that took a very deliberate and intentional effort to get us to this point. Anyone who thinks that it is easy has never worked at high levels of a complex government organization, or have they had the responsibility for making multi-million-dollar decisions. Getting it right meant making sure we had a pilot program prior to department-wide implementation to permit officers to test the different body camera models. It also allowed the Baltimore Police Department and the State's Attorney's Office to work through policies and practices. Last fall, a total of more than 150 police officers were equipped with body-worn cameras across 3 police districts: Western, Eastern, and Central. After a thorough evaluation, we announced in January that our evaluation team selected TASER International. Following that announcement, we opened TASER's sealed price bid, which many of you reported was $12.8 million over 5 years. Our purchasing department then moved forward, as I stated at the time, with negotiations for a best and final price. The result of those negotiations will be brought to the Board of Estimates next week. The final price, $11.6 million over 5 years. That's more than a $1.1 million savings than or less than the sealed bid, thanks to the work of Mr. Kruss and the purchasing team. Thank you very much. The negotiating process also produced some critical enhancements for the program, including steps to fulfill the requirements of the State's Attorney's Office for licensing and storage. At no additional cost, TASER has also agreed to store the video footage generated from the police transport van cameras. Following next week's approval by the Board of Estimates, we expect the first 500 cameras to be deployed starting May 1st with a regular schedule of the implementation after that. I firmly believe that the cameras will help bring a greater sense of accountability and trust to our efforts to improve police-community relations. I've made it clear that I want us to do this right, and this pilot program and the entire bidding process has given us confidence that we are finding the right solutions for Baltimore. Now I want to turn things over to Commissioner Davis. Commissioner?
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning. You know, running a large agency like the Baltimore Police Department and the government, the city government in Baltimore, is not unlike running a large sports organization. You have to have a game plan before you take the field. You just don't show up on game day, take the field, and expect things to turn out the way you want them to turn out. So this is because of the mayor's leadership that we're in a position that we're in today to do this the right way. Once fully implemented, we'll be the largest police department in America with a fully implemented body-worn camera program. So we know that that will be something that everyone in Baltimore can be proud of, and we look forward to police departments across the country coming to us and asking us, how we pulled it off. And like the mayor said, there are a lot of moving parts. There are a lot of people that need to get involved, from city attorneys to state's attorneys to folks in purchasing. And then the mayor was very thoughtful about community groups that she involved in the process. She stood up a group of people from all walks of life, and we got together and really are at a point today where we can be very proud of where we're going to be. Police officers in Baltimore routinely ask me when the body cameras are coming. It's something that I hear every other day from police officers in Baltimore. I'm wearing one today. This one is attached to a magnet that's underneath of my shirt, and they're easy to operate it. I can even do it. It turns on at the flick of a switch. So police officers will start their tour of duty by simply flipping that switch, and their camera will be on. And when it's on, it means it's ready to record. And then all I have to do before I have an interaction that requires me to record, I simply hit this button in the middle twice, and it's ready to record. That recording feature even backs up in time. So when I hit it twice, it will back up a period of time and capture what was the camera captured for a period of time before I turned the camera on. So again, this is something that really compels and enhances, encourages civility, not only civility from police officers, but from the community. The police officers I've spoken to really describe their interactions on the street as more civil when everyone notices there's a camera there, and that's really what we're looking for, because that really goes toward the community policing efforts that are underway in Baltimore. So we're really looking forward to it, really proud of all the people who have stepped up and helped us get to this point today, and I couldn't be more excited to lead an agency like ours that is at the cutting edge of this very, very necessary 21st century policing technology. So thank you. Tim.
We're going to open up for questions.
Commissioner Davis, are the general orders or the procedures in place? I know around the time the pilot had ended that they were still being formulated or developed.
Well, we had a policy in place during the pilot. That policy will be revised to reflect the particular capacities of this camera. So we did have a policy during the pilot. I know there was some discussion out there that there wasn't one. There was one, but that policy will be revised and distributed, and we will train our officers. Again, training is a big piece of this. So that policy has been developed, and we've benchmarked police departments across the country. We've benchmarked the Police Executive Research Forum. The mayor's task force that she put together had significant input. So we think that policy will be a best practice.
So would it be fair to say that the policy from the pilot program will be the department policy with the revisions reflecting the camera model?
That's very accurate, yes.
Commissioner, there's been some, I look at the Chicago situation with LaQuan McDonald, the shooting of that young man that is now a criminal case in Chicago. And in that situation, there was a lot of concern because while there's camera footage, the audio is not present. So obviously it leads you to believe that someone intentionally turned down the audio, whatever. The policy, as the draft policy, did not contain specific rules of engagement for an officer, what happens when they don't properly engage the camera. Will the final policy have something like that? In other words, what happens to an officer that doesn't turn the camera on or turns it off too soon?
Right. Well, Jane, as you can imagine, wearing this piece of equipment takes a little bit getting used to. So beyond having a best practices policy, we have to have training that speaks to the policy, and then police officers simply have to get used to it. What we found during the pilot, police officers encounter many situations. We deal in crisis every day, and we can suddenly find ourselves in the midst of handling a scenario on the streets where a police officer may forget, without any malice, to turn on his or her camera. So when a camera is not activated, whether it's audio or video, we have to look at the individual circumstances that were present. So, is it a matter of training? Is it a matter of getting used to this new piece of equipment that's attached to my shirt? Or was it an intentional act of omission? So, we're very interested in doing everything we need to do so we limit those circumstances. But
Can I just
Yes, go ahead.
add to that? So this particular camera leaves an audit trail, and it indicates whether, what's happened with the camera, when it was activated, if there was any defects with the camera, or if anything was intentionally done. It is defaulted to an audio recording, which is an exception to our wiretap statute. So it defaults to an audio recording, and it will indicate if someone turned off the camera. So what the commissioner is saying is, there'll be a way to track and determine what's happened with the cameras.
And really what the question I'm asking is, what will the department's policy be as to the consequence for an intentional turning it off, tampering with it when it's supposed to be rolling? What will the consequence be?
So those are the things, as the commissioner said, with the policy, we're still ironing out. There certainly will be consequences, but I want you to understand that's why I took the legislation that came out of the city council. I think it was 2 pages of legislation. I took that so seriously. Their legislation didn't even require that the officer turn it on. So when people talk about why I had to veto that so we could make sure we get it right, your question, there would have been no consequence. They didn't. The only thing they had to do was wear them. They wouldn't. The law didn't even require them to turn it on. So as I said, this is a very complicated, complex initiative to roll out, and we're taking it very seriously and making sure that we don't have any unintended consequences, like no consequences when someone doesn't follow the rules. But we will be rolling out with the implementation May 1st. We'll have that in place, so officers will understand what happens if they do not follow the rules and protocol.
How does it save $1 million?
He's tough. He looks really, really nice, but he's tough as I don't know what when you close the doors. We got it done.
Is there some part of the program that was eliminated?
We got enhancements, as I mentioned in my remarks. We got additional services and saved over $1 million. There's an article in the New York Times today that talks about the body cameras and how almost every other jurisdiction in the country just went sole source. And many of them have cost taxpayers millions of dollars because they didn't think through the implementation of the project, whether it was the storage concerns and costs, whether it was the equipment costs. I mean, just look at Baltimore County. We got a better deal than they did. They tacked on to, what was it, Austin or another San Antonio contract. And because we took our time and did the pilot and made sure we got it right, we got a better deal on the cameras with these enhanced services.
But how did you save $1 million? Was there like
He can't talk about his methods.
I mean, well, I just want to know, did you have 2 Sunday circulars and one happened to be $5 less or something?
No. I mean, we really did go through a negotiation process, and it evolved that we were able to point a few things out to Taser that they agreed with, and it caused a lowering of our price. You also might be curious about the implementation schedule for these cameras. 2,500 cameras. We're going to release them in 5 stages, starting May the 1st, 500 cameras each time, and ending about 600 days later on January the 1st, 2018. They will be deployed from the start across all 9 police districts.
Can you state your name and title?
Tim Kruss, and I'm the city purchasing agent.
Commissioner, can I have you face me so I can get a tight shot of the camera? Thank you very much.
Good. I'll only wear mine during press conferences.
Commissioner, can you just expound on so is Baltimore the first large department to actually get them on the street?
Well, there's large departments in America, so we'll be the largest when it's all said and done to have it. So San Diego, for example, they've got 1,800 plus police officers. They have a body-worn camera program. There's a couple local large jurisdictions that are piloting body-worn cameras. We're just further along right now than they are.